We're live.
I will say this, I don't want to get into your personal business in any fashion.
Okay.
But I'm glad you took something out of this studio and moved it, because when you walk down the hallway into the studio, one of the first things you see if you look to your left on that wall is a purple dildo.
Okay.
That is usually there. It was not there yesterday, and the landlord came in and walked down the hallway, and you can't not notice it. The dildo is pretty large, and it's purple, but for some reason it's moved, and I don't want to call you out for anything, but it's gone, and I don't know where it went.
No. It's still in there.
Okay. Well, it's not where it normally is. You do spend a lot of time in this studio alone, so I
think we moved it.
Okay.
It's still in there somewhere. You're just gonna
throw
out there.
I'm not saying. I'm just telling you.
I gotta find this dildo.
I'm telling you that the landlord. You don't need to find the dildo. All right. I'm just telling you the landlord came in. That was a very noticeable dildo in her sight of vision. That was the sight of vision. Yeah, you're not gonna find. It's fine. What are you gonna accomplish by finding it? What does it matter? Oh, I didn't say you were taking it home and putting it in your ass. I said you could have been putting it in your ass here. Is what I was kind of getting at, but it's fine. There is like what is that? The penis lollipop there?
Yep, there's the penis lollipop.
What was that? What did I miss that?
That was for the video me and Mike made for Portland. Where,
okay.
Like I'm obviously a pedophile.
Oh, right.
And like he looked in my back seat, and there's like a bunch of like bondage gear and a penis lollipop.
Okay, gotcha.
And things like that. But
all right.
Now I can't.
Don't worry about the dildo. I'm just saying that she just like barges in here, and she's always done that. I'm sure she did that with Steve too previously. Something was wrong with one of our neighbors' heat, and she just came barging in here for whatever reason. We're the only access point to the roof, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was what it was.
She called me 3 days ago, and she was like, "Hey, are you there?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Well, I'm coming in." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah. Well, that's good. She didn't see the dildo, so that's a positive thing regardless. But so in terms of what we're talking about here, producers live, Kirk, obviously, he is in Chicago. We have legitimately not heard. We've probably heard via text 7 words total.
Yeah,
Kirk Minahan.
Not a lot.
And
like we know as much as what we know is we say, "Oh, Kirk retweeted this." Oh,
yes,
like that's legitimately. Yesterday, you sent him a text. His response,
sure. That was it. That was it. Just sure. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or either way. And then you guys announced on Twitter, no unnamed show today.
Yes.
So 2 weeks in a row, no unnamed show.
Yes.
All right. So you'll have plenty to work with next week. I guess in terms of the Miniverse stuff we can get into, I'm just in order of Dave. If you're going to let me lead this thing, I'm going to go in order of like what Dave thinks is important. Mick tweeting out yesterday, consecutive tweets. To me, I'm a Mick maniac.
Yep.
I'm a day one Mick guy. I know you're not. You and him have your problems. That's between you two.
Yep.
I'm not going to get in the middle of that. He was actually active yesterday, which
was.
makes me think, like, even though he did the whole quote, like, I'm not ready. You don't have the tweet up, do you?
I can pull it up.
It was something about, like, I know you guys are all waiting for the podcast, but.
Beyond average Mick. So obviously he has the tweet from Sacco.
Yep.
Where he said, he's missed everyone, but he can't be back. So yesterday he tweets out, "Quick update. I promised myself that I wouldn't do any type of podcasting until I got my health in order.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I got news today that has caused a bit of a setback. Things are just more complex than doctors originally anticipated. Hopefully we'll be back soon."
Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, I hope, I don't know what to hope. It's his health. I hope he's taking care of himself and everything. I don't know if that's related to some of the issues that he's talked about with Crohn's, or because that's just an ongoing thing from everything I've seen about Crohn's, or maybe it's not
something you like beat.
Right. So I hope it's nothing else outside of that. I have no idea, but he seems active, which is positive. So maybe we get Mick back in the world sooner rather than later.
He did say, though, in the tweet, though, because if you remember when he left, he said he will never be back in studio as long as I'm here.
As long as, right. So but he didn't know that I'd be here, and he knows I'm a day one McManiac.
That's right.
So maybe those two cancel each other out. We go back to the way things were.
Yes, but so he did say he's not returned. He did not say in the tweet, "I promised myself I wouldn't do any type of like Kirk or KMS thing." He said podcasting.
Right.
So he might just be doing beyond average.
Okay. Well, I will say this. Just because the volume of tweets, he was kind of fucking around on Twitter, it's a good thing. I don't know if he had to post any health documents that he had. I don't know if that's like the best idea with addresses and date of births or possibly.
He's keeping notes.
Right. But either way, all those haters that said he didn't really go to that doctor and that doctor lives in Florida or wherever, he beat them yesterday. He did. Proved his point.
So at first when I saw that tweet, I go, I don't remember anyone calling.
Oh, people did.
But then I saw that there was a tweet that kind of went like Coleman retweeted it, said if this is true.
Yes.
So like people did say like if this is fake, that like he moved to Florida in 2019. So how could he have seen it?
Right.
But Mick proved that he was seeing Dr. Foray
right.
For years before that.
That was
about 9 years ago.
Good proof all around. Good proof. The other thing in the Miniverse is Steve from Gloucester is clearly going through some stuff. Obviously, he did not like. We talked about it a lot. We talked about it last week. Then we talked about it at the live show. John Peltier's sense of humor might have been a bit too much. Let's put it that way. He might have gone a bit too far. Steve from Gloucester is not obviously he's not having it with John Peltier. He does not forgive him. I think they've had private conversations behind the scenes. Maybe I've been told about some of those conversations. They did not go well, from what I've heard. But regardless, other people fucking around with Steve from Gloucester on Twitter are also he's not playing around with. And at one point he went private so nobody could see any of his shit.
Yep.
And then at another point, I think he was fully deactivated.
Yes.
I think that was one point. And then he came back.
He's back now.
He's back now as of, actually, I think it was, maybe not yesterday, maybe the day before, but he wiped everything KMS related. He wiped it from his profile. And he now, I think, is just like full-fledged Trump guy.
Now
right?
his banner is like Trump Vance.
Yep.
His profile picture is Trump. He's just tweeting about Trump.
Right.
So yeah, he went back and he like.
No, I did see him reply to some like porn thing the other day too. So he's not just fully Trump.
It was what was.
Because didn't he have a tweet a long time ago of like weren't two people like fucking in? Obviously, Twitter has a shit ton of porn now, and he replied to it a long time ago. He did something along. It wasn't It was just a picture. I think this one. Like it was.
This one said it was Francine EC. So it's some old wrestling diva.
Okay.
Francine,
and she's got like side boob going
using
on
under boob to get your attention, and then it's like
and he replied
2004 like emoji boob picture.
Yes.
Are you subscribed? Are you caught up? And it's her YouTube channel, and he just replies fire emoji.
Fire emoji. Okay. All right. So he's it's not just Trump.
His account is currently locked though.
Oh, so he's back to locked.
Yes, he's back to locked.
Okay. All right. And then locked just meaning that
locked means if you didn't already follow him, if you
fine.
follow him, he has to accept it.
You miss
so
it.
It's not like a public thing.
Right. All right. But we can still see it from the Kirk Minahan show account,
yes,
right? Because I don't think I follow him on my personal, and I'd like to follow him.
He, the show account follows him.
All right. We talk a lot about it on this show because eventually in episode 10, we believe Kirk Minahan will show up. I'm going to just say it. I don't remember, like I'm horrible, obviously, with my memory of everything, but the Aaron Hernandez story, I'm lost on a lot of things. Tim Tebow may have legitimately helped Aaron Hernandez pray the gay away a little bit. At least that episode.
In that episode, he 100% does. And like
Tim Tebow, like the gay was gone for a long time.
Oh, very much. I mean, then he had
until
to go back
Thanksgiving.
home. Until he had to go back home, and
right.
You see the love of your life, and
yes.
and it breaks your heart. But at one point, and like I kind of like it how they're very ominous. Like, so it starts off. So this is all about like Aaron Hernandez. Like at the beginning of this episode, he's in the fucking bad boy era. He's cheating on drug tests. He's smoking weed.
What'd they call that device?
The Whizzinator?
Or
the Whizzer or something?
Yeah.
Something so...
That Urban Meyer actor is one of the all-time
awesome.
Worst.
He is incredible. So it starts off with him just... with him like faking a drug test. He's high all the time. And also he's like 1980s like Nancy Reagan high too, where he's like looking outside. He's like, oh, aliens, you coming to get me, man? You can't come and get me. And his girlfriend is like, come back in bed, Aaron. You're so high. And he's like, ha ha, the aliens, man. And then so he's at practice and he's high, and Urban Meyer's like, I can't even do his act. Is he high? like he's like I thought we doubled down on the drug tests. So he benches him during practice, and
then Tim Tebow comes over. Doesn't Tim Tebow have some weird line there too? He's like, he's the highest I've ever seen him right now. Some kind of version of that. Yeah.
And so Aaron Hernandez sees him. He's going through it. He's partying all the time. So he gets into a fight at practice with the tight end who's like replacing him. His backup, Reed.
Yes,
he is.
Which, by the way, does that happen a lot in college football? Like that was a hit Like that would be suspension for the rest of the season type shit.
Yeah, I don't know if that I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, but go on. Sorry.
So Tim Tebow comes up to him after practice and is like, "Hey man, like, what are you doing tonight?" He's like, "What do you mean tonight?" And he says the great, he's like, "You know what comes after today?" And it's like, technically no.
By watching the show, if you didn't know anything about Aaron Hernandez before or Tim Tebow before, would you kind of get the thought that Tim Tebow wanted to fuck Aaron Hernandez that night? Like if you know nothing, if you're my wife watching that for the first time and you know nothing about either character, but all you know is Aaron Hernandez from the show is basically gay,
and that Tim Tebow, if you know like a very like Tim Tebow's very like religious, you think like, oh, he's trying to get some on the side here.
Oh, either way, they're fucking.
Because we skipped over this part too. Between the Wizinator and the practice, Aaron Hernandez was roaming the library for dick. Apparently what happens is in University of Florida, a bunch of homosexuals roam around the library and they meet up in the bathroom and they fuck.
Yes.
And so in the school newspaper, a journalism student writes an expose on how there's a bunch of Johns going around fucking each other in the bathroom. And in it, one of the anonymous sources is like, I even saw a football player. And he's like, who? Which one of these homos is doing that? So they're all like, so at practice, they're all trying to figure it out, like, who is it? And there's like this one linebacker who's like, hey, if you gay, get the fuck off our field. It's like, what the fuck is this show? But it's been awesome. So yeah, so Aaron Hernandez goes to the church, and Tim Tebow's like, it's just like the Swamp.
We shouldn't have called this the producer show. It should have been like the Aaron Hernandez, I could talk.
American
Sports Story recap show.
I could honestly talk for hours about this show. So he goes to the church, and like he goes once, and he's like, yeah, no, Jesus, pretty cool. Tim Tebow comes up to him. He's like, yeah, man, just, we Jesus saves us. And he's like, good.
He's good.
He's dumping out his weed.
I don't know how many weeks, but I would say he's good for at least a month and a half, maybe.
Probably. I mean, he's dumping out his weed in his toilet.
Right.
And everything like that. And then even Urban Meyer comes up and is like, hey, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And he is the worst actor in the entire world.
It is so bad. So he goes home and then he ends up like attempting to hook up with his like high school lover.
With the quarterback.
With the quarterback there. That guy's getting we shouldn't be spoiling this entire thing for people. Honestly, it's a funny show if you're looking for something. If you're not watching anything right now. I'm not watching any other shows, so I'm watching that.
I'm watching Sonic Prime, but that's not a big deal.
What's Sonic? Is Sonic Prime like just a cartoon?
Yeah, it's okay. Sonic. Right. And he goes, he's like, oh, you're good fighting your demons, and he's like, I fought my demons. And his quarterback's like, yeah, you really look like you have. I don't know. And then he comes back, and he's like, I fucked up. And they're playing Alabama in the SEC championship.
Yep, horrible throw. Just a horrible throw.
Oh, that was 100% on Tebow.
Oh, 100%. Yep. So I don't blame Aaron Hernandez for getting mad in that spot.
So they lose. And out of nowhere, Urban Meyer has a heart attack. Or not even a heart attack, like an anxiety attack.
Yes. Yep.
And he's in the hospital, and they're like, we'll just call it dehydration. He's like, what do I do? I give everything to these kids. They go off to the NFL. And
Urban Meyer and Bill Belichick, they're the reason why Aaron Hernandez killed people. Just fundamentally.
Well, Urban Meyer knows.
Yeah.
Like, he knows. Like, so at the end of the episode, Aaron Hernandez, he wants to come back to Florida for one more year to mature more. He's like, I left high school early. I got to mature more. Urban Meyer pretty much tells him, no, fuck off. You're not welcome on the team anymore, even though you're the best tight end in the country. And
right.
I'm
I just had a heart attack, and I can't deal with you anymore, so you have to go pro.
You have to go pro. So Aaron's like, oh, whatever. So he wins this award for the best tight end in the country. And very subtly, Urban Meyer goes to his wife. He's like, that kid's going to end up in the Hall of Fame one day.
Pause.
Or jail. Or prison.
And that's the way the episode ends, right?
Pretty much.
I think so, right?
Well, because then Aaron Hernandez meets like the guy the award is met, and he's like, God bless you.
Right.
Like,
the
what
picture.
have I done?
Right. So, yeah, you watch it if you haven't watched it. The only other thing that I'm watching, I turned on the other day was the Vince McMahon thing, but it's in the beginning, it's super wrestling heavy. Like, obviously it's going to be wrestling heavy, but I just mean like it's not as much about Vince McMahon being the asshole guy person. I mean, he makes some asshole decisions. But it's all stuff we know about to this point. The lawsuit stuff, apparently he did most of the interviews before the lawsuit, and then when the lawsuit broke as they were in production, he just never came back to film interviews. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're going to get into that or not.
Yeah.
All right. The two things from you. Well, first of all, how are you feeling after yesterday?
I feel fine. I mean,
That was one of the most disgusting vomits.
It
I
was
think I've ever
a
seen.
very, very gross vomit.
Yeah.
It was not something I'd recommend. I saw a lot of mixed reaction to that. A lot of people saying this is the worst thing in the entire world.
Yep.
A lot of people saying like the puke is funny.
I understand with both sides. Yeah.
I do. It was, but also like I did title it like this or puke.
Right.
So you got to know it was coming.
Right. How early? I was watching, but I don't remember the timestamp. How early did you start to feel like absolute shit? I feel like it was pretty early.
Like 25 minutes in.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I got through the McDonald's and that was fine. And then it was the Chinese rice that
Yep.
just just
rice?
sat in my fucking stomach.
Yeah.
And when it just came up, it was just all white. It was just one big like glob of
Different elements. How much time did you when you first did this? You had a lot of time in between certain meals.
I was
Right.
probably like 40 minutes between McDonald's and Chinese food.
Chinese food.
And then it was probably like
40 minutes with not eating anything,
Yeah.
just sitting there or whatever, driving or whatever you were doing. Like that's a decent amount of time to then regroup and get home and eat something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the time between Chinese food and Taco Bell was probably like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that puke was you said on the it was like insanely thick.
Oh,
and just like
so thick.
gross.
It was like
yeah.
I could feel it the entire time. Like I was like, I can't eat anymore because the puke is like up right here.
Right.
It's like, it was.
How did you feel personally? I mean, was it the greatest idea in the world to one day like focus on your health and fitness, and then the next day do a complete 180 and just go back to what would we say approximately 5,000 calorie eating competition basically? It felt like to me because I watched you do this. You did the cardio for 16 minutes, I believe it was.
Oh no, because I needed to do it twice.
No, I know. So I'm saying
Yep.
you did it for 16 minutes the first time. You walked down and said, "Okay, is that all right?" And I was like, "Yep, we got it." And you weren't sweating bullets. You weren't breathing hard or anything like that. I think you got through that pretty nicely. And you only took I'm going to say 5-6 minute break and went right back and did 16 more minutes. How's the body feel post your cardio workout?
It is
there?
funny how much better you feel after you work out.
Definitely.
Like just like even like that day.
Yep.
It's like, wow, even in like that one that
Well,
was
that's
that wasn't even like a
cardio specifically, I think.
that wasn't even like a workout. That was like a
Yeah, you could have went a little harder.
Yeah.
But it's all right. You were emulating the great Richard Simmons. So,
yes.
Yeah. But you felt fine after that and everything?
Yeah, I felt great.
Okay.
And then
Did kind of like I was just trying to do the comparison between the physical fitness and doing that and then doing the food challenge. Did you wake up today deciding I should change my life and go one way or continue doing another way based off of your experience?
yeah,
this week?
I've woken up a lot and thought that, but that just never goes through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you want to change, like you want to be somebody who does more of that working out stuff. You just haven't taken the time to build yourself up to a consistent point where you can keep it going long term.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. Do you have a go? Do you want to start doing it and try and have
Yeah.
people like the show hold you accountable?
No.
No.
I think it's something I need to do on my own.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily.
You just said you felt good after working out.
I did.
That should be enough.
I know it
How
should.
did you feel after the food competition?
Oh, I felt terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt
So that should be enough of a little bit of a wake up call to say.
Oh, I felt terrible. I've had
Yeah.
plenty of wake up calls when it comes to food. It's just always just.
Yeah.
But like yesterday at night, my dad was like, "Hey, you want to pick up pizza?" And I was like, "No."
Your dad's an enabler.
But I didn't even think he knew what I was doing.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't know about the food challenge at all? or
No,
anything like
no,
that?
no,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And then my mom texted me. She goes,
Your mom's in a hurricane right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, pray for mom."
Yes.
Where'd she go? She goes,
That's like an annual girls trip? Or
"No,
Just a sporadic thing?
just well, not sporadic. They've been planning it for months.
Okay.
But go to Harry Potter World or whatever."
Nice.
She texted me. She goes, "Why not do healthy food challenges? That's where the challenge is." I was like, "No."
Speaking of texts, how about my friend Nurse Kim texting you about your...
No, she never texted me.
Well, she texted me, but texting about... That was a sweet text.
That was
it
very
not?
nice.
That was a nice text. That was
Very
when we, for the first time, were going over your best friend there, Mammy. And Mammy paid you some money yesterday, which was very nice.
She didn't pay me. She paid Mr. Portnoy some
That's true, Mr. Portnoy. I didn't even know that was enabled on the YouTube. I
It
had no
is.
idea. So anybody watching on YouTube can just click that button on the Kirkman and Show channel and just do a super chat. I didn't know. I thought you had to enable that on every live that you do.
I think it's like automatically enabled. It's a Barstool thing where it's
Okay.
automatically.
Was that have people done that in the past?
Oh
on
yeah.
the show? Okay.
I famously during one of Gaming with Gus streams, someone sent $500 thinking Gus would get it, and
Right to Mr. Portnoy.
Yes, it did not go. And then there was like fighting about not fighting, but Gus was like, "Can I get it?"
What?
Me and Coleman were like, "No." Like, it
In
was
what world would he think he should get that? That's ridiculous.
I just remember no, not him thinking it, but him saying like, "If I get this," I'm like, "Dude, you're not getting it."
Yeah.
Like we told you, like super chats don't go to
right. That's just weird. That's just weird. All right. Sportsbook Live back tonight.
Oh yes.
I will not be there. You will be there again for round 4.
Round 4, baby.
You might that is remarkable that you're going again. But Aton had a tweet this morning, which I think was another Minifan just going at him, and he quote tweeted and was like, Mutt, did you not have to do any of that? What did he say? Like the Diddy type stuff to get in with the Stoolies, basically. It's weird. Like he loves being the tough guy on Twitter, saying like shots like that, which is fine, by the way. But he doesn't really do that on the live show at all. Like even when people are fucking with him in the chat, he doesn't necessarily be like, your Barstool people are lunatic, part cult, asshole. He didn't do anything like that. He acknowledges just that they're fucking with him, but he doesn't say anything else.
So someone tweeted at some other gambler or whatever and said, at Shander Show, market-based strategy, proven system that cannot fail. He retweets that, says, they can't get enough of me. That's why they keep talking about me. It's why I don't even know who they are. It's compelling. They are followers. Crazy how I own them. So then...
Has he not realized, though, that it's really not about him? It's about the fans, like, just wanting to stay involved in whatever Mutt's doing, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then so someone replies to that and says, Kirk literally has 100,000 more followers than you, laughing face emoji, laughing face emoji.
Yes.
And he says, they can't stop. Have no idea who they are, yet they insist on reminding me they know who I am. Barstool has these weird puffy vibes, minus the women.
He said Puffy instead of Diddy in that tweet?
Yes.
Puffy?
He said Puffy at first, which is very strange to me.
Yeah.
But also, what does that mean?
I don't think I've heard anyone outside of like the rap scene refer to Diddy as Puffy.
Puff Daddy?
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Puffy. I've never heard Puffy before.
I think I saw an interview recently with Suge Knight, and I think he called him Puffy. I think.
Yeah, Puffy sounds like...
That's a long time ago.
Puffy sounds like someone who... I can't say it.
Okay. That's probably safe. Yeah.
So then someone else replies, says the only reason people know you're...
Oh, you don't have to do this. I just opened up the chat just to see what's going on. You do not have to do the super chat. That was not bringing that up for you to, but why did Jay beat up Sneaks at Sacco as one of the, do we have to read them if they do it?
No.
That's like, okay, sorry. But I mean, I know nothing of that. And then the Patriots stink again. 99 cents. Let's see.
So then someone says the only reason people know you're clown ass outside of Philly is because of Kirk now. Laughing, crying emoji.
Yep.
Should get on your knees and thank him for the exposure, you bald fuck. And Aton. One of these days, I'm going to figure out his name. And I'm not trying to do that as a disrespectful thing, I promise.
It's a unique name. I've never heard of a name. I've never heard anyone with that name besides him.
He says, hey, at Mike Mutnansky, hoping you didn't have to do any shady Diddy shit to join this cult.
Right.
So I think he's implying that
we all fucked minors.
That maybe like we passed, like when Mutt left WEI in order to came in, we all took turns with them.
Yes. Well, or we all to become Minifans or Stoolies had to have some type of relation with minor children, basically. Is that it? Or minor individuals under the legal age. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the show retweets says Aton is not rattled. He's fine. He goes, I'm great. Never had to do anything Diddy to hang with the stool. Okay. So now he's implying.
Never had to do anything Diddy. Just a weird, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. Either way, he will be remote, I assume, again tonight. We do not know. Who's to say who's going to show up as a guest for Mutt tonight? I mean, if you got one of the greatest tight ends of all time last week, he's got to keep that up, I assume. So it's not just going to be Brad the Bomber Bryant. It's got to be somebody else with him.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Who could come?
And by the way, we haven't been, we did the Sacco show, so we haven't overly talked about this. Can we just say that grand prize is just basically Mutt texting Brad the Bomber Bryant being like, what can we give away? And then he's just firing off anything that he has been able to give away free in the past, basically, which is like a free table at the Sportsbook, tickets to one of their events, a free hotel room. That was the last thing. If the hotel room is available, it could be a part of the grand prize.
So they said you can do it on the Super Bowl, but you need to let them know like months in advance.
Why can't you just book it now? Like, why can't they just hold that room now? Who cares if that person who wins decides they don't want it, open up the fucking room. Why is that a big deal?
Well, because obviously they would get a hotel room.
No, but I'm saying, let's say that person doesn't like backed out randomly, then they just open up the hotel room.
Yeah,
that's I don't know why he's like claiming they can't do that. I don't know. All right, so anything else going on like Minifan?
Oh, did I mention about how? Did I mention this on the show about how last week I was going around with the raffle? So the raffle ticket, you have to place a $10 bet in order to get a raffle ticket.
Yes.
And
the part where they didn't have the other ticket?
No, the part where I go up to place a bet and I show the guy and he's like, no, it needs to be $100 parlay.
Really?
And I was like, absolutely fucking no. Well, the other guy that was there with me, I forget his name, Jason. He's like, yeah, apparently this week you have to do a $100 parlay. It can just be a $10 bet. And I was like, fuck you.
He said that they said that to you last week. Mutt didn't say that on the show. He still said $10.
It was just a miscommunication. It was Mutt. It was supposed to be $10, but the guy was going around telling everyone it needed to be a $100 parlay.
Good Lord.
So eventually they fixed it and everything like that. But I was like, this is bullshit. And then there was some shenanigans with the winning of the raffle.
Right.
I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. We know all about that. So, all right. Minifan World, I think we're covered. We do not know the schedule for next week yet. Mm-hmm. We don't know. I don't even know when Kirk's back, when all that stuff. We have, like I said in the beginning, we have no update.
Oh, I just want to say, some people are saying in the chat that you're behind Kirk's desk. You're not.
I am not behind Kirk. I'm in front of Kirk's desk.
Yes.
And then it's manipulation of cameras, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know. We don't know the schedule. We haven't heard from him. I would assume it's crazy busy because usually when he goes on that trips, he does those impromptu live shows with Jeff D-Low and stuff like that. So it must be crazy, I would assume. I have no idea. Yeah. But I don't know. We don't know anything else. In terms of guests next week, we got to reach out to a couple people who we think can come in next week for the third chair role, but that's that. And besides that, that's all. So you will be there tonight, just as a reminder. So we'll see you there. Yeah, make sure check out on YouTube. Yep. What is it? Bet Shopper channel. Odd Shopper channel. Which we'll talk about something with the Odd Shoppers next week, which we noticed. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So that's that. If you guys have anything, obviously follow on Twitter, follow on Instagram, follow on all the social channels. And yeah, we'll talk to you again at some point. Okay. Bye.